Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Riley and Van Gogh here, checking in on Wednesday, June 12th. Today is day 41 of our Appalachian Trail through hike attempt northbound. This is where we camped last night. We are just about packed up and ready to go. So we basically got the first campsite that we were able to get after leaving Atkins. And when we left, basically, like, as I explained when we got there, you're walking along like this green pasture that's very nice, and you have, like, other than the traffic noise, you have no sense that you're like near anything modern or civilized or industrial. And then just like you turn around a corner and immediately you're just on this busy road with trucks going by and a huge gas station. And then as you leave, you have to cross under. You basically go up to the Exxon, where the Exxon station is. You hook a left to go around the other side of the Exxon, and then you go under Interstate 81, and then right as you're on the other side of Interstate 81, there's this like intersection where two roads meet. It's not even a stoplight, and right where that intersection is, there's this corner of grass, and there's just a little trail that goes up in that corner of grass with a AT sign on it, and you just take that trail, and it just leaves all the highways and busy industrial, not really industrial, but all the highways and traffic stuff behind, and you're back in the woods. But then you have to hike a little bit to get out of that area, and we had to hike through this pasture last night, which is open to cattle. And when Riley and I first got out of the tent this morning, this whole, well, not the entire place, but we saw like 25 black cows that were just all grazing on the grass here right as we got out, and Riley was barking at them and barking at them and barking at them, and then eventually the cows just decided to move on. Like they were initially just staring at Riley, but then eventually they just decided to move on to other areas. They have a lot of land, and so there's this fence here that we had to cross over last night. I actually had to just and we were doing this in the dark, so I was standing on that side, and I just dropped my pack over on this side, and I was holding my phone for light, and what I decided to do was I just picked Riley up carefully and put him on this side, and I was able to hold on to the leash while he was still on this side, and then I was able to climb over the fence. So we were able to both get over. And then this is the first campsite that we came to, and it was really comforting to know that we were on the other side of this fence, away from the cows. I would definitely feel uncomfortable if I was, like, you're not supposed to camp in the pasture area, but I would definitely feel uncomfortable if we were camped in the pasture area where the cows could just walk right up to us, especially with Riley. He would go ballistic if the cows started to approach us. So yes, it was definitely reassuring to know that we got to where we needed to be, and then there was this pretty nice campsite. And just a few thoughts on Atkins while they're fresh in my mind. So these are kind of like notes to a future self if I choose to hike again on the AT with Riley or by myself in the future, for when we get to Atkins. So, I mean, there's not that much to review because it's not like that big a town. There's only 3 things to really comment on, and that's the Mexican restaurant and then the two gas station convenience stores. So the Mexican restaurant was excellent food. It was like this morning when I woke up, I felt like I didn't feel the need to eat immediately. I felt fully fed, and I felt good this morning. Yeah, so I had the veggie fajitas, but there were a couple things at the Mexican place that were, I guess, less than a 10 out of 10. I didn't think the service was all that great. It was fine, but like nobody was rude, but I didn't think they went out of their way at all to like be friendly or anything. So that was one thing. The other thing is when they brought out the food, so they started off by bringing out a basket of tortilla chips and salsa. We'll get it. We'll be going soon, Riley. Riley's ready to go here. So, yeah. So they brought out tortilla chips and salsa, which I love. And then I ordered the veggie fajitas, and then they brought that out shortly. It wasn't. They didn't take too long to make it. And for the fajitas, they brought out a whole skillet of vegetables that were nice and piping hot, along with a side of rice and refried beans and diced tomatoes and some lettuce, shredded lettuce, and sour cream and guacamole. Like little portions of each of those. And then they brought out 3, not super large, but like I would say small size flour tortillas that I could use to pack all the vegetables and other stuff inside of the tortillas. And I was surprised that they only brought out 3 tortillas, because with all the food that was on the plate, like all the vegetables and other stuff, there was no way that I could fit all that food into just 3 tortillas. I felt like they could have easily brought out 6 tortillas, and I still, like, that may have been enough, but that may have still not been enough. And I feel like tortillas are like not very expensive, so I don't know why they didn't bring out more tortillas. But it was okay. I could have asked for more, but they stated on their menu that if you need additional tortillas, they charge for extra. So I just used the 3 tortillas, and then once I was finished with them, then I just it was actually really nice that I had the extra tortilla chips, and I was able to use the tortilla chips to mix in with the veggies and all the other fajita stuff. So yeah, I didn't waste any food. I was able to eat everything, and it was excellent. And the meal, it was $11.50 for the meal, but plus tax and tip, it came out to like a little less than $15 for the meal. So I would say it's reasonably priced. It wasn't a bargain. Like, it's still like $15 is not, it's not nothing. But it was excellent food, so I definitely enjoyed the meal. But anyway, so notes to a future self. So at the Exxon convenience store, so when you're hiking northbound, the first gas station that you see is the Sunoco, and then up the road is where the Exxon is, and it's not a long walk between the two. Like, if you need to go up to the Exxon and then hike back to the Sunoco, that's not a problem at all. But at the Exxon convenience store, which is near where the Mexican place is, I don't know if this is a one-time thing, but before I get to that, so at both of the gas station convenience stores, almost nothing has prices on it, which is really kind of just, for me, it's annoying to not know what the price is. And so to find the price, you have to bring the item up to the cashier and ask, can you please tell me what the price is? I have no idea how much this costs. And so I did that at the Exxon station, and several of the items that I brought up, she scanned and it said like item not found. So she didn't know how much it was. So the first thing that I brought up were cans of pinto beans, because that was the only cans of beans that they had. They didn't have like a wide selection of cans of beans, but they had a lot of cans of pinto beans. And so she was like, okay, I'll just charge $1, which I think is probably less than what they would have cost had they came up in the system. Because most of the stuff there tends to be overpriced. Like I had her scan a jar of peanut butter, just a regular 16-ounce jar, and that came up as $4.99, which is way more expensive than a jar of peanut butter should be. But because the pinto beans were somehow, for some reason, didn't come up, she just said, I'll sell it to you for $1. So that turned out to be a bargain, but it's not necessarily a bargain that can be relied on for the future, because in the future, more likely than not, the items will be in the system and they'll be priced whatever the store wants to charge for them. But as far as a note to future self, I could have actually, like, the Mexican meal was excellent, but I could have actually still had a very good meal, and been much more efficient with my dollar if I had just like bought like as many cans of pinto beans as I wanted, and just eaten the pinto beans along with whatever else I had in my pack. And the pinto beans by themselves would have been a huge treat for me. Like my standards are not super high. Yes, it was super nice to have a hot Mexican meal with a whole bunch of different things and the sour cream and the guacamole. But for the money, the pinto beans would have been excellent, and it would have been a lot less than $15. I definitely would not have been able to eat 15 cans of pinto beans. So it would have been like an all-you-can-eat meal for very little money. So that's something to consider for the future, or a future town if I'm in a similar situation. And then before leaving, Riley and I walked back to... Oh, the other thing is these gas stations don't have a large selection of dog food. So I was lucky that the Exxon convenience store did have a bag of... They had one bag of dog food. It was a 3.5 pound bag. And that bag also did not show up in their system. So the lady who is at the cashier said, all right, I'll sell it to you for $5. And that seemed like a perfectly reasonable price. So I bought the 3.5 pound of dog food, 3.5 pound bag of dog food for $5 there. Then we walked back to the Sunoco, and most of the stuff there was overpriced as well, but they actually had a pretty decent selection of various food items there. They had a grill as well where you could buy like a whole pizza, but that only is open like during the day. So they closed that down at night, and when Riley and I got there, it wasn't open as an option. But they had something. So this right here, this is a a bag of a dozen Seavers brand donuts, glazed donuts. So in the Sunoco gas station, right next to the cash register, they have this display of Seavers brand donuts, and they have like packs of 4 donuts, and each of the packs are like different flavor, and they're all like gourmet flavors. But then at the bottom, they have bags of glazed donuts. And the 4 packs of donuts, they're all like about $5 or so. But the 12 packs of glazed donuts are all like 3 something. They're less than $4. And these glazed donuts are excellent. They're not like just your typical glazed donut that you might find in a grocery store. These are like really good. They definitely have a flavor of fresh baked to them, and fresh glazed, and just made freshly. The dough is nice and soft, and the glaze is just almost dripping when you touch it, and very sweet and just super delicious. And this is not typical hiker food to pack out. But I was in the mood. I just thought it would be fun to pack out some glazed donuts. So I almost could have packed out 2. They had lots of these bags here. And I'm glad I didn't try to like combine it all into a single bag, because the glaze would have just attached to the bag and it would have gotten all messy. So I'm glad I packed out the whole bag by itself. And when I'm finished with them, I will just find a trash can, and I'll hold on to it until I find a trash can. So I actually had 4 of the, there's only 3 left. I started with a dozen. I had 4 last night, and then I had 5 this morning. So definitely note to future self, if they still sell the Seavers donuts, definitely buy at least 1 dozen, possibly 2 dozen donuts, because yeah, I can eat them fast, and they're absolutely excellent. So that's something that's well priced at the Sunoco gas station. Everything else I wasn't totally sure, because nothing was priced. Nothing had like an actual sticker price on it, so you had to ask what the price was. Like they sold pints of ice cream for $4.90, and I actually bought one of them, but I kind of regretted it, because it was just way overpriced for a pint of ice cream. But and they also sold half-gallon jars or half-gallon jugs of chocolate milk at the Sunoco gas station. I decided not to pack one out because number one, I wasn't thirsty at that point. Number 2, it was already like 11 o'clock at night, and it was cold, and I just wasn't in the mood for something cold. And it would have been a lot of extra weight. Like my pack was already on the heavy side with all the other stuff I packed out. Oh, the other thing is, at the Sunoco gas station, they did have a section of Little Debbie snack cakes. And that's probably one thing, like one area where the prices are reasonable, because on the boxes of those snack cakes, it actually already says what the price is. So like all these Little Debbie boxes were like $2.79, and the price is like pre-printed on the box. So it would be hard for the gas station to justify charging a higher price than the price already printed on the box. And so I packed out like two boxes of oatmeal cream pies. So that's also a good buy at the Sunoco gas station. I think most everything else would be overpriced. But they did have an aisle of like hiker foods, like not necessarily traditional hiker foods, but like they had an aisle of cans of beans and cans of corn, cans of vegetables, things like that, that if reasonably priced would be something that I would definitely consider buying, and either eating right there or trying to pack out. So yeah, so note to future self is, oh, and the other thing at the Mexican restaurant that I forgot is they had, man, I'm really going on with this. I'm almost done here. So the other thing at the Mexican restaurant is they had electrical outlets inside the restaurant. And some of them were like right on the wall, right next to the table. But they had the outlets covered up, and they had a sign saying, please do not use outlets. So for some reason I'm sure at some point the outlets were not covered up, and hikers were going in and using them to charge their devices while they were eating. And I guess they just didn't like that. So they decided to cover up the outlets and not allow people to use them while they're eating, which that was another thing that was odd to me, and definitely from a hiker perspective kind of annoying. So they didn't strike me as very hiker friendly. Like a hiker friendly restaurant would definitely, if they had outlets, they would allow hikers to use the outlets. So yeah, so that was kind of surprising, and not a huge deal, but just surprising. As a hiker, it's nice to be able to access outlets, especially when you're at a restaurant. So, all right, I think that's enough of a debrief on Atkins. Riley and I we're beyond Atkins now, and we're gonna move on and hopefully get a good hiking day in. And I will be able to enjoy. I still have 3 donuts to enjoy, and I have lots of oatmeal cream pies, and I packed out 3 cans of pinto beans in my peanut butter jar, so that will be good to eat today as well. Temperature right now, it is it's not chilly and it's not warm, it's just good temperature, so we are going to get started. Apologize for the long debrief, but this was partly just a note to my future self for what to remember about Atkins, and how to make the most of it the next time I get there, if and when we hike again. So, all right, bye for now. So, the day is going okay. Riley's asked to take several breaks. It's not too hot. I'm feeling kind of low energy. Anyway, I turned the camera on just now because we got to this sign here. Riley, come on, dude. I apologize. Sometimes I whine at Riley when we're trying to do different things. He wants to do something and I want to do something else. And right now I want to come over to this sign and Riley wants to sniff the leaves. And he wants to lie down. But like, I'm so close. I just want to like scoot over like a couple feet here. There we go. Okay. So 1/4 Georgia to Maine. So this means we are, according to this, at the quarter waypoint on the trail. And then there's a sign on the other side. What does this say? 3/4 Maine to Georgia? Yeah, 3/4 Maine to Georgia. I predicted it. Very nice. Seems like this is worthy of a some type of celebration or recognition. I don't really, I'm still like waking up. It's still early in the day. I don't feel in a celebratory mood, but It seems like a quarter gallon of ice cream would be the appropriate way to celebrate. And I don't know, like you can't just buy a quarter gallon of ice cream. You have to get like a pint and then maybe like 2 pints, and then it would be more than a quarter gallon, or just a carton of ice cream. Anyway. One thing I wanted to add on to my discussion this morning about the glazed donuts. By the way, the trail has been very pleasant since we left our campsite. Very pleasant. But I'm still low energy for some reason, even with all the food that I ate yesterday. But regarding the Seavers donuts, I looked on the back of the package, and it says that Seavers is located in Johnson City, Tennessee, which I believe is not too far from here. When I was at Boots Off Hostel, which was like 40 miles south of Damascus, I heard this couple that was staying there with their kids. They were asking one of the guys that worked there if there were any like cool places to go around there, like cool cities to go to or something. They wanted some place to go with their kids. And I remember the guy who was working there, he mentioned a few things, but he mentioned Johnson City as one of the places. So what that tells me is that Johnson City is not too far from Boots Off Hostel. And Boots Off Hostel is, at this point, it's actually over 100 miles south on the AT. But it still feels relatively close because we were there not too long ago. So anyway, it was interesting to see that they're located in Johnson City. And what I gathered from that is that they probably I'm guessing they have their main bakery in Johnson City, and they probably then ship out their donuts and products on a somewhat regular basis. I don't know if it's daily or twice a week or something, or who knows, but they probably have a distribution plan where they ship out stuff from their bakery to gas stations and supermarkets, and then they rely on the gas stations and supermarkets to sell to local customers. So that's probably why the donuts tasted so fresh, is because I'm guessing they were made recently and then shipped out to the gas station within a day or so of being made, as opposed to something like other baked goods that are made with the idea that it's going to sit on the shelf for like weeks or months at a time. And those products they just have their own taste to them. They can be great. They can be sweet, and they can be very, very enjoyable, but they tend to lack the freshness quality that these Seavers donuts have had. So just wanted to mention that they are located in Johnson City, and so that's probably one reason that they tasted so fresh. Mr. Riley, taking another break here. Okay, so hopefully my energy will perk up. It usually does later in the day, so we will check in later on in the day. Bye for now. All right, Riley and I are back, checking in. It's been a slow day, so we're taking a break right now. I decided to, we're at a stream actually. This is actually the first water source, on-trail water source that we've crossed the entire day. Riley took a big drink when we got here, and I filled up my bottle and decided to make myself some instant cold coffee. I already made myself one jar and drank it, and this is my second jar. And I think I figured out what was causing me to be a little low energy earlier. I mentioned I was low energy earlier, and I think I just got too little sleep last night. Like, I got quality sleep. When I fell asleep, I fell asleep fast and I was sound asleep, but it was after 1 a.m. before I actually got to bed. So I think I just didn't get enough sleep. And so earlier, Riley and I pulled off to the side of the trail, and I just took my pack off and just laid down, like, entirely, my entire body on the trail, and I allowed myself to just take a nap. So Riley and I took a nap together in the middle of the day on the side of the trail, and I felt kind of refreshed after that. But it's been hot also. It's been, like, warmer than I would say is comfortable. So that's been slowing us down. We're actually in a really nice shady spot right now. It feels kind of nice and cool here, so that's good. And I got my guidebook out here. So if it's possible to see this, yeah. So here is Atkins, which we passed through yesterday. And then we left town by going under the Interstate 81 bridge. And I guess, by the way, the road that we got to was Virginia Route 683. Yeah, it's got 3 roads: Virginia 683, US 11, I-81. So I'm not exactly sure what the road was that went by the gas stations and the Mexican place. I'm guessing it's Virginia 683, and maybe US 11 is just, like, nearby it. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So then last night we made it to the fence style end of field. So according to the AWOL guide, it's 545.9. And we did this climb and then this descent. And this climb and this descent felt like a really big climb and a really big descent. And now we're going up this ascent, and I think we're right here where the stream is indicated. So according to this, we started here. Currently we're right here. According to this, we've done 5.8 miles on the day. And I think it's like mid-afternoon. I don't know exactly what time it is, but so that means we're not burning up the miles today. And I wasn't expecting that we would. We've taken several breaks and we've just been trudging along. So we still have a good bit of day left. But that's where we're at. Just taking a break, getting my water here. And it looks like after here, there's a couple poor water sources, but then the next good water source is like, it's like less than 4 miles from here. And there's a couple water sources. There's another water source after that. So I think we're in good shape for water. Riley had a really good drink, and I'm getting hydrated here. So just got to get up this mountain, and then we'll have a big descent, and then a little ascent, and then a bigger descent. Yeah. So that's an update. Hopefully, I feel like my energy is starting to pick up. The nap definitely helped earlier. And I will show one of those donuts. I showed the bag earlier. I ate one earlier, so I only have 2 left. Yeah, because I started the day with 3. I only have 2 left. So before I finish them all, I'll show one close up, so that since I've talked about him so much, I think it makes sense for me to show everyone what I'm talking about. So I'll make sure to do that later today. All right, hope if you're watching this, hope you're doing well, and we'll check in later. Bye for now. And I just thought of one more thing. So I said I was having this instant coffee, and this is the second one of these that I've had. And I remember the first time that I had this, I described it a little bit because it was something that I found in the hiker food box at Boots Off Hostel. And I said that I would show the ingredients. And so This is actually the package. I like opened it all the way up so I could make sure I got everything out. But this is what the outside of the package is right now. It's been in my fanny pack for over a week, ever since I left Boots Off. And the printing on the package has just totally like worn off. So I can't even read anything. So I think the ingredients like start here, but like it's just not legible. So if it was legible, I would read it now. But somehow just being in my fanny pack, there's this package, the printing didn't hold up. I think I have another one. Let me see if because I think I got 3 in total. Here we go. Okay, yeah, so this is the last one. And the printing is wearing off on this as well, so. I think there's just something wrong with the printing on this one. Like for my peak refuels, or my PK, the printing is fine on these guys. But on these guys, there's something wrong. All right, that's all for now. I'll check in later. All right, back on the trail here. I've been letting Riley lead for a while. He's not pulling too hard, so it's been working okay. And I can sort of already feel my energy starting to pick up a bit. The nap earlier helped, and I think the instant coffee helped as well a little bit. Just wanted to point something out here on the side of the trail. There's this this plant here, and the focus might be a little hard to see, but you can see these like green things that are starting to like kind of take form on the plant here. And so it's not obvious what this is here, but on my previous AT hikes, which I started a little bit later than I started this hike. I started my previous hikes in 2017 and 2018, like around May 17th, May 18th, or somewhere around there. And I remember on those hikes seeing lots of blackberries and raspberries. Not immediately, but once I got like in this general area, I think, I do remember seeing lots of blackberries and raspberries and even some blueberries. And I'm thinking that this is probably a blackberry plant that is starting to grow its blackberries for the season. I think we're a little bit early for the blackberries and raspberries to be in prime picking season, and that's why I haven't seen any yet on the trail. But once it gets hotter for some extended periods, I think the blackberries and raspberries are going to start flourishing, and we'll be seeing lots of blackberries and raspberries, and they'll be ready for me to like just pick off they're gonna like slow me down, because I'm gonna, when I see like ripe blackberries and raspberries, I'm gonna want to pick them off and enjoy them. So I'm thinking, I'm keeping my eye out for where they are, and I'm thinking this is a future blackberry plant. So yeah, just wanted to point that out. We'll check in later. Bye for now. Well, I'm sorry, not a future blackberry plant. Like it is I think it's a blackberry plant, but it's a future source of ripe blackberries. Okay, we'll check in later. So the trail has spat us out into the middle of a open field, and I think we're about to cross a road called Old Rich Valley Road, and then we're going to enter another field. Lots of open fields that we
get to cross in Virginia. There were plenty of grassy areas earlier on, but those were mostly like balds on the tops of mountains. And now it seems like now that we're in Virginia and even parts of Tennessee, there's just a lot more open land like this that we get to cross over. Here's a sign for the Quarterway Inn, 0.3 miles left. Resupply and fuel canisters, pizza, pop, ice cream, chocolate milk. Ooh, I like chocolate milk. Gatorade, shower, laundry, bead by bead on the AT necklace, gourmet breakfast for overnighters, Wi-Fi, shipping, VHS collection, honey, giant sycamore, postcards, private and semi-private rooms, bunkless, bunk room, tent, hammock, credit cards. Okay, sorry, no dogs. Yes, that is not a surprise to me. I was aware of the Quarterway Inn already, and I already knew that they do not allow dogs in the property, so that does not disappoint me. Wait, is this the right way, Riley? I'm not sure if this is the right way. Riley, come here. Come here, Riley. Riley, come here. Okay, I guess this is the right way. Because it says south, north. Which way? I mean, they got sticks there. So that usually indicates that we're not supposed to go that way. So I think we need to go further down the road here, because I don't see any obvious white blazes there. Yeah, and there's looks like there's a pavement marker down here indicating straight ahead for the southbounders. And I think I see an AT sign up there. So very good. I'm gonna do a loop-de-loop here to untangle with Riley. What do you see, Riley? You see a hiker? A hiker's down there, okay. I bet he's coming from the Quarterway Inn. All right, I'm gonna turn my camera off and we're gonna check in later. So we're continuing to walk through this grassy field where the trail is just marked by a narrow strip of grass that is cut much lower than the surrounding grass. And I was just thinking that during times like these, I'm especially glad that I'm wearing long hiking pants to keep the grass from brushing against my bare legs. Riley is walking right up against me because that hiker that we saw down at the road, he passed us shortly after we hiked past the road, and Riley remembers and he is motivated to catch up. We're headed right towards that tree right in front of us with a white blaze on it. And then it should be back into the woods and back into the shade. All right, so that's the tree I mentioned earlier. And before we head back into the woods, if we turn around here, there's just a nice view of where we came from. So it's a big splotch of open land there, and then lots of trees. And down there, a little ways down, you can see the road that we crossed over. That, I believe that's Old Rich Valley Road. What do you think, Riley? It's warm out here. Yes, sir. All right, cool. We'll check in later. So we got to another fence style. There were very few of these fence styles early on in the trail, but now that we've hit like lots of farmland area, I mean, even here it's not farmland, but I guess we're close to farmland. So they have this fence, barbed wire fence set up, and a fence style to climb over it. So this always presents interesting challenges for Riley and I, but we were able to figure this out without too much difficulty. Fortunately, there's like a good clearance here, so I was able to just lift this up, and Riley was able to pass beneath. And then I just held onto the leash and kind of brought it over so I could hold on to it like this. And then I walked over, left my pack actually sitting on the ground before doing this, and then I secured Riley to that tree. And then I just came back over and moved my trekking poles over, and now I have got my pack on, and I'm gonna walk over myself. Yes, Riley. Hopefully I don't trip and fall. I'm gonna be very careful here. Gotta use both hands. All right. Nope, stay there, Riley. I know. Good boy. Good boy, Riley. I know. Don't. No. Stay. No, Riley. Hey. Riley thinks it's a game. He's wanted to grab hold of my leg. Fortunately, my pants have proved very durable. I'm sure Riley could rip through them if he really wanted to, but my pants have held up so far, and they don't have any rips in them. So, all right. So that's how Riley and I navigated this fence style. I'm sure there will be further obstacles that we need to navigate down the trail, but I have confidence that we will figure out a solution as we encounter them. All right, coming over another fence style here. Riley is waiting patiently for me. Very good, Riley. Very good. Very good. Okay. All right. Van Gogh and Riley here. We are in our tent now. Just want to close out the day. So it's about 9:45 p.m. now, and we actually got here a little after 9 p.m. So I was able to set up our tent in the natural light without needing my phone light at all. We're actually at a place, we just crossed this place called Lynn Camp Creek, and there's a sizable campsite with space for many tents just after the creek. We're about 1.2 miles after a shelter called Knot Mall Branch Shelter, and the next shelter coming up is, I'm actually not sure what the name of it is, but it's like about 8 or close to 8 miles ahead. So in total we hiked 14.3 miles today, and according to Far Out we're at mile 561.9, I believe. Yep, 561.9. The terrain was very pleasant for most of the day today. The main challenge was just that I started off with low energy, and I think that was because just didn't get a lot of sleep last night. So I'm definitely glad that we got to camp without having to hike in the dark tonight, and it's relatively early for our standards. It's before 10 o'clock, so should be able to get a good night's sleep and get some reading in, and hopefully I'll be more energized for tomorrow. Yeah. And with that, I think we'll close out the day. Riley is just getting himself comfortable here. He did very well today, as he usually does. And yeah, so we'll close out the day. Hope everyone is doing well, and we will check in tomorrow. By the way, I know I mentioned that I would show the donut. But because it's dark right now, I haven't eaten any more donuts. I still have 2 donuts. So I will plan to show that tomorrow. Okay. Good night.